It was an almost unthinkable accident. 7-year-old Ariana McGuire is on a playdate at a friend's house with her twin sister Brianna when she's shot in the face by a boy playing with a bow and arrow.
My daughter was coming out the back of the house as he was shooting into the backyard from the side of the garage, which is kind of a blind spot. So when she turned the corner, she walked into the path of his arrow being fired into the backyard.
Things were pretty grim, and at that point, they didn't even know if she was going to make it up into the ICU, that she was going to survive long enough. She did. When she got upstairs, her CAT scan showed extensive bleeding in the brain.
She was hit right between her eye and I guess the bridge of her nose, so it would be right here on an angle, right here. Just missed her eye, her optical nerve and her tear duct went right in here and into her head.
An arrow on Ariana's CAT scan illustrates the path of the projectile, penetrating, her doctors said, at least 3 inches into her head and severing the child's middle cerebral artery, which supplies approximately a third of the blood needed by the brain. Surgeons were also forced to temporarily remove a portion of Ariana's skull in order to give her brain room for swelling.
I sat down with the parents, I sat down with the extended family, and I explained that this kind of injury, patients often don't survive. Or if they do survive, they survive with such severe brain damage that they're never the same. And that's could be just as devastating.
And we didn't even know it was that grave of a situation until the head of the ICU pulled us in and said, "You need to prepare yourself. There's a chance she might not make it."
Side to side? Or should we go front to back?
But Ariana has not only survived, she's beginning to thrive. She spent 6 weeks at the Bristol-Myers Squibb Children's Hospital at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital before being transferred next door to the PSE&G Children's Specialized Hospital. She's undergoing extensive rehab that includes physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy.
I would never would have expected this in a million years. I actually really thought she might die that night. I really did. And it doesn't stop us from being very aggressive. We still do that. But, I prepared the family for that. And I said, I really do think she's going to die by the morning. And they're just amazing people. And they're like, whatever happens, happens. We know you're going to do everything you can. And as the day passed, and days went to days and weeks, and she actually started turning around. And I never expected this kind of outcome in a million years. And I think it's because everybody worked together, and her family is amazing, and the rehab she's gotten here has been incredible. And I think we've been blessed to have taken care of her, because it just kind of renews everybody's faith in what we do.
And she started to show progression over in the ICU at Children's Hospital. It was like a miracle to watch her come out of what was a medically induced coma, and being prepared for her not to possibly not make it, and seeing her starting to become more responsive, more reactive. And then from her to move from that step to Children's Specialized Hospital and start her rehab, and actually watch her start to regain a lot of the traits that made her her. I mean, basic things like being able to eat, talk, breathe on her own.
After 8 weeks at Children's Specialized, Ariana, who turned 8 years old while in the hospital, is expected to be released later this week. She will continue rehab as an outpatient, and doctors say it may take upwards of a year until they can fully grasp the extent of her recovery.
It was rough. It was very rough. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I believe that God smiled down on us. He smiled down on the staff at both hospitals. He smiled down on Ariana, and between the doctors, the physical therapists, and the good man upstairs, they put together a plan that worked. And here she is. She's truly a miracle.